Hey guys, sorry I'm late, but I'm here. Yay. And I'm glad to see you guys are here too. I'm just looking at your comments here quick. Christy says, I don't think NK has anything to do with it. I agree with you, Christy. I don't think NK had anything to do with anything. I think by the time he started spending time with his coworker, I think the marriage was already over. So this is what I'm thinking. I think that we should spend, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half or so talking about how we focus on not what everyone else is focusing on with, how successful the retired nurse was and all that, but how we focus on this channel on how poor little Bella and Cece were treated. If you guys are like me, then you were looking at those videos figuring that you'd see some warning flags, right? That Christopher Watts was some sort of a like abuser. But I didn't see any warning flag at all that Christopher Watts was an abuser. What I saw were two little girls who were being carted around to one doctor after another, who were supposedly sick on a regular basis, who were being given lots of Tylenol, right? What I heard in Christopher Watts' wife's voice was somebody who wasn't telling the truth. When she sat out on the deck and she talked about wanting to make money on buying houses, or when she talked about how she was going to take the kids to the zoo all by herself and she needed her juju juice to do so, or when she called the kids monsters, or worse yet, when she sat there spraying water in poor little Bella's eyes and then laughing about it and saying, this is why we had kids. What I saw was somebody who did not seem to have been ever bonded with those little girls. If you look closely at those videos, Bella and Cece would lean into Christopher Watts. They would go face to face with him, right? They would tell him when they were thirsty. They would tell him when they were hungry. And who was picking them up from daycare? He was. They were bonded with their dad. I didn't see that same type of relationship with their mother. And then with all of those conversations with Cindy Watts, it really just confirmed my suspicion, I guess. Think about this. We've talked a lot about the nut meltdown. Think about how poor little Bella and Cece had to witness their own mother accusing their grandmother of attempting to murder one of them. Imagine what that would have done to poor little Bella and Cece to hear their own mother accusing their Mimi of such a terrible thing. I wonder if Bella and Cece were used to that sort of behavior. Think about all those trips to the doctors and to the hospitals and to the clinics. Think about all that medicine that they had to take. Remember, Cindy Watts told us that they would tilt their heads back like two little birdies when they saw their mother coming toward them with the syringe full of medicine. Benadryl and TYLENOL, according to Cindy Watts, they were given Benadryl and TYLENOL every night at 6:30 p.m. and put to bed. Isn't it weird that the autopsy reports say that all three of them were healthy, physically healthy? With all of those posts about how sick they all were, and then the autopsy reports say they were physically healthy? Why aren't the other channels discussing that? Why aren't the other channels asking how that could be that all of their autopsy reports are saying they're healthy when they spent so much time in the emergency room and at the doctor's offices? Why is it this is the only channel that's focusing on what poor little Bella and Cece Watts went through? How many diseases and illnesses and syndromes and whatever did Christopher Watts' wife claim that she had? If you do have lupus, are you offended by how this case has been discussed? If you do have fibromyalgia, are you offended by how this case has been discussed? How about high-risk pregnancies? Does that offend you that the claim is out there that Christopher Watts' wife had high-risk pregnancies? How about if there are any fertility issues in your world? Does it offend you that Christopher Watts' wife claimed she had fertility issues? Do your kids have asthma? Does it offend you to dig into the details of this case and to wonder if any of those claims about the girls having asthma were true? If your children actually do have nut allergies and you do have to take along a couple of EpiPens everywhere you go, does it offend you to learn that the EpiPens that we're talking about in the case of Christopher Watts were actually expired? If you've ever been a pregnant mom, does it offend you that people are applauding a person who didn't even bother to go in for prenatal care in 15 weeks' time? If you're a nurse, does it make you angry when people say that Christopher Watts' wife was a nurse? Or when they refer to her as Nurse Nene? If you are a woman who actually does do more than 95% of the other women out there, does it offend you when people discussing this case claim that Christopher Watts' wife did more than 95% of the other women out there? If you've done any research at all on any of the product-based MLMs, does it offend you that we're supposed to buy into the story that she was some sort of a huge financial success? I think most of all, if you're a person who is truly an advocate for children's rights, for the right to be safe, for the right to be protected, for the right to live free of having to take unnecessary medications, for the right to be free of any unnecessary procedures, for the right to not have to be on social media, are you offended? There are so many parts of this case that could be discussed in order to actually promote awareness so that just in case you have a friend or a neighbor or a relative who is showing any of the same types of behaviors, then maybe, you'd learn a little something from discussing this case and realize that maybe you could reach out and help. Instead, what we've been watching for years now, we've been watching as other channels just push what seems so obvious to the side. What about the other Bellas and Cece's out there? What about the other women who are acting just like Christopher Watt's wife? What about people who are spending tons of money on product based MLMs and then filing bankruptcies? I guess to walk away from all that debt. We were told that Christopher Watt's wife always cared about proper nutrition and that she was always into, healthy foods for her family. And then we watched the videos and we thought, what time's dinner? We were told that the girls were allergic to nuts, tree nuts to be exact. And then we were told they were allergic to peanuts. And then we saw the jar of peanut butter. And then we started reading those labels. And then we listened to Cindy Watts tell her story about the killer ice cream. And we began to wonder, were the kids allergic to any food at all? Moving forward, I think it's important for us to keep the focus of our case discussions on Bella and Cece Watts and what they suffered through in their short lives. Because, quite frankly, I think we're the only channel focusing on the kids. And you know what? If people want to attack us for it, that's on them. Because on this channel, we're not going to pretend child abuse and neglect away. In my opinion, the case of Christopher Watts is a prime example of Munchausen by proxy. I mentioned this before, I'll say it again. The autopsy report said that all three of them were healthy, physically healthy. So how could it be that they were both children, were both sick on a monthly basis, at least? I think there's something to that hospital stay in the spring of 2016 because those posts where she would say both kids are sick again, those started after that hospital stay. So what's that about? And what's with the fundraiser at work to buy the girls pillows? Surely they had enough money for pillows for their own kids. Was it for disability checks? Hold it. I see everyone saying hi to Straight, and I don't see Straight. Oh, there you are. Okay. There you go. Paula, I just put the link in too, but anyone, everyone, but Straight, if you want to hop up, hop up. Everyone's saying hi, Straight, hi, Straight. They want to hear your voice. Red Shoes is happy that she finally made a live at last. Oh, okay. Straight says he's just watching. He says, no links for me, just watching. Marge says, pillows? What's up with that? Here's Paula. Hey, Paula.
Hey. I'm just sick and tired of all the gossip and stuff about everybody's background, everybody's life. That's not what we're on here for and who everybody really is. I don't understand why people can't totally move away from it. The ones that are out here going after people and trying to bring stuff up have some of the worst records there ever was. And I don't get it. I don't get what is the purpose. Every time anybody says anything about this case, they immediately want to start attacking.
Well, I think they have been attacking since August of 2018. I think they targeted, their initial targets, right? And pretty much, I think they've been trying to control the narrative ever since.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you, Miss Avocado over there better be careful because there's a sabotage to cause her to have a big mental breakdown again and get her off there. And she's too dumb to realize that the people, it's just like that Jessica girl. She said she's only talked to her 3 times and they've been in a live. How does that tell you what that person's even about, or if you can even trust somebody like that? 3 times in her lives and never talked to her any other time. That makes no sense to me about a trust issue and believing anything that comes out of that girl's mouth. She was sent there. These people are coming back for a reason. And I think it's to try to get certain channels, certain creators off here again. I think that's their whole purpose. People too close to the truth. They don't like what we're digging up.
I think the live chat that we had where Straight and Honey Badger were both up on the panel. Remember the 4 of us, Paula? I think
yeah.
Right after Straight was on. I think that live chat probably, that's when somebody blew a dog whistle and all the dogs came running.
Yeah, set them off. Yeah.
Because I don't think they really care that much about what we're talking about here. I don't. I think they just figure, bunch of old women, right? Bunch of, whatever they call us from time to time.
Right. Well, somebody even asked her, and she said the family never said anything about either channel. Set the record or yours. They had never even mentioned anything to her in the time she knew him about either channel.
I
don't believe that for a minute. I just don't, because Frankie's done way too much crap, and he knows what he's done in the way of attacking and sending people, telling them call people and just keep bugging them until they want to change their number. Oh yeah, he's done so much stuff. It's just disgusting stuff he's done.
I agree with you though, Paula. I do think that they're setting her up to fail.
Oh yeah.
I think it was Set the Record Straight who was saying that to her, or over in there, I don't know. And I posted a message for her, a comment, and then I
Hmm.
deleted it so that way she could see it, but it wouldn't be out for the public to see.
Right.
And I said to her that I think Straight's right, that I think that she is getting set up. You know, I think they're in her ear, they're lying to her right and left. They're getting her to repeat lies. And so I told her she was welcome to call me. She was welcome to email me. And that was this morning. And I haven't heard from her yet today, but she, you know, it's Sunday. She might be busy.
And they know that they can push her and how and what to do to trigger her. And even the lady that was on there and stayed with her way after me and those other girls left. I mean, for a long time, clear up till late last year. That was especially knew all about AD and all that stuff. But anyway, and is a big backer of the family. She even told her. She even posted a thing on a community post on here today and told her, "You're going sitting back and waiting for your next meltdown because it's going to happen." That these people know what triggers her, and she got triggered over nothing, over
Did you ever
nothing.
see did you ever see the Mary Marlowe channel?
Oh yeah, yes. I listened
I
to
think
her for until I thought, oh my gosh, yeah,
I think she was getting messed with too. I do.
yeah, she was. Yeah, I think they caused her to have. I mean, yeah, did she have a drug problem? Yes, she admitted that. She had some issues, but I mean, come on, they tried to push her and they did push her. I think they caused her to have a breakdown. I really do. You know, they just they take people they know are susceptible, and this is what they do. They just do this. They know they can
Well,
do it, and they use them and abuse them, and they don't even know what's going on. And we tried to
exactly.
tell her. We tried to tell her, you can't take anybody's word for anything. You need to get the proof. And she told us we just had to take her word for it because she was taking their word for it. And that's just not the way. I don't go that way. I just don't do that. I look at what I can visibly see and find out with going through the discovery, listening to interviews, watching videos with a complete open mind. And if you can't get the things, there's something wrong. There's something, your brain's not functioning right. I'm telling you, if you can't see what's going on in this case, it's crazy.
Well, I think that what's happening is that the people who have been attacking, I think there are actually just very few of them, but I think they are the ones like stirring up the others. And
Hmm.
the others probably don't have as much time invested in discussing the cases they do trying to survive or navigate or whatever, right? And
Right.
so then, you know, they can just say, oh, look at that, they're bashing or they're whatever. And then, you know, let's all hop on the hate wagon. And it's like, no, discuss the case. Just go ahead and
Hmm.
discuss the case.
Well, even Honey Badger went over there and tried to tell her, why don't you just uh, talk to Menza one on one and leave all these other people out. I think you all could maybe come to some kind of an understanding if you had left all these other people out that keeps trying to come in here and keep stirring up stuff. Just try it. And no, she was nope. Mm-mm. She just acted like nope. And I don't get where she gets that you were the one attacking. Wait a minute. No, rewind and go back. You, Kelly, were the ones that you started attacking the minute that family come in when you were first on here. I know I was there and we told you to leave these creators alone and you didn't listen to us. So don't even go there. I heard you go in and attack after I left. I heard she attacking you. I heard her going after Set the Record. I heard her going after certain creators after eight. She just did. That's what she did because they had her mind so messed up and so directed that it's everybody out here that's doing all this stuff to them and with no proof. That's just the way I'm telling you. It's disgusting. Um,
Well,
some of the stuff that I found out that
I thought it
they were
was
pumping her
interesting.
full of. Oh,
I thought it was interesting that she started right off with an attack video saying that I was in her comment threads posting under false profiles or whatever, or
yeah.
fake profiles. And then that's also what a person who had called me in the middle of the night 3 times in a row using a fake robo voice, whatever. That's what she
Mm-hmm.
told the police when she was questioned, was that She said I was using fake profiles and posting, and that's baloney. But I think it's interesting that they both had the same lame excuse for
Mhm.
the harassment.
And there's a couple of girls that used to be over here in our chat. They were over there saying, "Oh yeah, I know who. I remember Paula. She's the one that said you went real life. Yes, Kelly, you did go real life on me, and I didn't do anything to you. I hadn't been. It had no interest in anything, but you wanted to twist it, turn it, and come. So don't even try to lie. I've got so much proof on you. It's unreal. So I even went on it YouTube and brought it all out, read it, everything what you did. So don't say try to tell people you didn't go real life because you did, and the stuff you did to me was sick because I've never done anything to her to ever deserve what she
Think about
did, and most people don't. That's just
think about this, Paula. Could it be that the let's say there's a handful of people who are like orchestrating the whole thing? Could
mhm.
it be that they were actually trying to pit you against her and her against you?
I think so. I really do. And for I was there for 3 months, and that's what really bugs me. Here she's listening to this girl that she's listened to supposedly in a live 3 times that's been on there, and she's going to take her literally for everything she's saying, trusting everything that's coming out of that girl's mouth. But I was there for 3.5 months and knew her before on another channel, knew her before when we were all
Right.
mods for another girl.
Right, but think
Yeah.
about it. What if she was receiving stuff from fake profiles that were
Hmm.
saying they were you? And what if you were receiving things from fake profiles saying they were her? That's what the attackers do. They try to divide and conquer.
Yeah, I supposedly had 3 or 4 channels out here, and I was um, trashing her and everything. I had no channels. I've never had a channel. I wouldn't know the first thing about even doing it. I'm almost 71. I doubt if I'd even have the patience. They'd probably run me off because they can get me wound up, and I'd probably
Well,
say a lot of things that would get me removed real quick. So, yeah.
I'm always accused of having a whole bunch of channels and evidently telling a lot of experienced people who know a hell of a lot more than I do about the whole internet thing. I'm
Mm,
supposedly telling them all what to do and when to do it and, jump and how high, I guess.
yeah, I
Because,
don't know. It's
I'm so
just
sick.
this stuff last. This just blew my mind. This is just so crazy. I mean, this is just coming from nowhere again. Yeah,
Well,
I can see what's going on.
I think that live chat, I think, is when they decided to jump back into the baloney.
Hmm. Yeah, and
You
they,
seem
for some
upset.
reason, it's we are fixated just on this case. That's not entire.
That's
There's
not
been
even
other
true.
cases. She just doesn't know, what's in Patreon or other
Yeah,
things that you've done. You know.
exactly. And the other groups that I have, the other cases that I've written on, she doesn't have a clue.
Hmm.
She
She
doesn't
doesn't.
know. But that's what she's being told. That's the whole thing. She has people in her ear who are going, "Oh, she's, obsessed and she's this and she's that." And they're lying to her every step of the way.
Hmm. And
There for a
remember,
while.
she said, "Oh, she didn't want to have anybody mention me over there." One set one over there. Oh, I don't. We're not going to talk about Miss Paula because I have a special feeling for her or something. No, you don't. You didn't have you never have because you would never have gone on there and said the things about me did if you respected me or had cared about me at all. So don't even go there. It's just that's what I told her. I won't accept your apology, and I never will because I didn't do anything to her, and the stuff that she said and did about me is just unforgivable. When you're there day and night for somebody, and you're talking to them on the phone, and you're talking to them for hours, and you're working like us other girls did, digging up information and stuff and researching, and then they turn around and they create a nightmare that you are the problem and you did this and you did that. No, we didn't.
Well, think
The
about it though.
family got in her ear, and then she went nuts. I'm telling you.
What
Mhm.
if there were middlemen or middle women? What if there were people who were actually sending you stuff and sending her stuff?
Well,
I
I
mean,
think that's
what if
possible
somebody,
too. And I think
what if
that one
somebody,
guy from wherever he's at that come in there and was supposed to have all this proof on AD that night never proved anything. I think he is the big problem too. I noticed he's back too. So yeah. saying
If
stuff.
you think about it, what if somebody was in her ear saying, "Oh, you better watch out for Paula. She's trouble. She's saying bad things about you." And what
No,
if she
I think there was. I really do think that she thought I was going under different names and I was doing, but it just wasn't so. And the thing about it is, she finally told one of the friends um, that did finally go ahead and talk to her and try to get the bottom to it that she never had any proof that we did anything, that she just was told that by people. So she told on herself right there. She had no proof like she said she did.
well, if
Yeah.
she never had any proof of anything, then at some point can she come to you and say, "I'm sorry, Paula, I never had any proof of anything"? You know?
The thing she tried to do, she was getting on there and she wanted to read an apology and she sent a copy of that to me and wanted to know if there's anything I wanted her to take out or put in. And I tried to send her back and she wouldn't respond to me anymore. It was just her way or the highway. And then she reads those apology letters. We were blocked, couldn't get in there, couldn't say anything. And then the some other ladies that was still there in her group, 15 minutes later on, they're calling us all bitches and stuff. 15 minutes later, and she said nothing to them, not a word. They were in the chat and on her panel trashing us 15 minutes after she tried to apologize to everybody. So that tells me all I need to know.
So it makes sense that she had people in her ear trying to tell her that you were a bad person.
Yeah, and this is people over in the UK and stuff, most of them that would not even have an inkling of an idea of anything about me or never would have. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Actually, that adds to it, though, because some of the stuff that she's saying about me, it's like, what? This is ridiculous. and yeah, if they're in her ear and if they've got her ear going, oh, yeah, or they do this thing where they put it right in the comments. They'll put their crap in the comments and then she'll read their comments. And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's so obvious.
Yeah, that's what two of them were doing in there last night, putting stuff in comments that, oh, did that stuff Paula said about you, did you really go after her? See, they're just trying to stir that stuff up. I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on again. Yeah. And you nailed it. It's
the best case scenario would be if you guys could reach out to each other and seriously reach out to each other and say, hey, look this is what I was told. Well, this is what I was told. Well, that's not at all what happened. Well, you know what I mean? Because that's the only way that they can get in between people is if they're going to be somebody saying this and doing that and using all their fake crap,
But she told me she didn't want anything to do with me because I'm part of your channel and that's it. She doesn't want anything to do with anything that has anything to do with trying to get to the bottom of the children and the things that we've seen. I tried to tell her to go back, look at those videos. Please just go back with an open mind and look and forget what all you've been told and just look and tell me. And she doesn't want to do that. She thinks it's crazy. She thinks it's just all we want to do is go after, bash a dead woman. That's all I hear out of her. And that's the same thing. That's why I can't even talk to her about anything because that's what she thinks the whole purpose is. And that's not what it is. And if she would, I don't know. I don't even think she even listens to some of the stuff that the family said in interviews and stuff. I mean, if she would go in there and listen to some of this stuff, she could actually see where we're coming from and things that don't make sense and things that don't add up. And to me, this...
We've been labeled, the bashers, right? We're the bashers, but they're missing the part about how we're the ones discussing Bella and Cece.
Exactly. Oh, and the big thing was that we were talking about her being with other men and her having other babies, and this one that she was pregnant with wasn't his. Well, we have questioned some things like that, but we've had reason to, and there's a lot more to it than which I guess she doesn't want to look at, but it's there. I mean, it just is.
And here's the thing. I don't know how long you've been a true crimer, but I have been for many years. And every single case we discuss, we're discussing the case of Christopher Watts, just like we discuss every other case.
Right.
So what is
I've watched it on those channels, Court TV and stuff, all that, they have the series about the O.J. Simpson, about Case, And that's the ones I would have been in watching that stuff for years. Just not on YouTube. It started on, court TV and stuff where they would carry the series and stuff on things. But yeah, I was definitely involved in it and been involved in it for years. And there's a lot of things to a lot of cases, even here in Texas that I have looked at. And they found out years later somebody went to prison and they didn't even do it. They might spend 20, 25 years and find out they were innocent because they didn't want to say something. They were protecting someone. Mm-hmm.
Well, when I think about the case of Darla Routier, that case happened in 1996. And
Right.
my Facebook group on that case has like over 900, almost 1,000 people in it. They're going to keep on talking about that case for years to come. And they've already been talking about it in my group for like a decade, I think, close to it, maybe 6, 8 years. I have no idea how long that group's been there. But that's what we do with true crime cases. We discuss every little detail, and we all have our own opinions, and we discuss why we have our opinions, right? We look at patterns of behavior. We look at the fact, like with the Darlie case, that she was on that fen leading up to the tragedy. We look at the fact that she said that, yes, she did want to go for counseling, but she was afraid to because she was afraid how it might look in an upcoming custody battle. We look at their finances, just like they did at her trial. They dug into their finances big time. And I think that was a big part of the prosecutor's case against her, as far as motive, anyway, which they don't have to prove motive, we know, was that they were struggling financially. So we're going to talk about that stuff. That's what we do with true crime cases. I think the problem with what we're seeing with the case of Christopher Watts is that these people come into the true crime community with the drama stuff and expect to be able to just steamroll over the true crimers.
Right. Sorry, my internet's dropping. It's kind of looking like it's ready to storm or do something here. What's going on? It's acting crazy again.
Well, tell me, Paula, while you're up here, tell me this. What was the most alarming video that you saw with how Bella was being treated?
Oh my gosh, there were so many of them. I think probably the one with the constant water squirting in her face, probably just, and the statements that she was making. And then the second one would have to be when she was sitting there hungry and crying, and she asked her for a bite, and she said, "Oh, you got to go put that on your vision board." She wasn't even paying attention to what she was saying, and she could have give her, and when they sit there and let the kids cry, being hungry, give them, I never seen any fruit where they could grab a banana or something and give those kids some grapes. What about a few grapes, raisins, anything? I mean, I never seen that stuff around.
Turning off the phone and feeding her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. There's just so many things. And then when the girls were watching a cartoon or something, and then Cece was laying there in Bella's lap, and she said, "Don't take her away from me," and she so I'm not going to take her, and she kind of growled it, made that noise, which I think was a defense of hers. But that too, and that getting her, telling her you need a haircut, that's pretty bad too. She did a lot of cruel things, I think, for a little girl like that. I mean, bad enough if you was a teenager, And
didn't she pinch her leg too? I think that time where she pinched her.
Oh yeah.
When she was
I know she pinched Cece. Even I've seen that a couple of times, and then you could see it in the next one where she had the bruise. You could see it on her arm and her leg. You could see them. So she did do that. And I think maybe Cece was knocked down or even shoved from her being mad. And I think she hit things and stuff. I think there's from the busted lip and stuff. I think there's a lot more to some of that than what's out there. It just from the way she acts and stuff, and just in that one makeup tutorial I watched that she was doing, those kids were trying to play with toys and stuff, and they're tearing my bathroom up. They're destroying my bathroom. And she'd come and get her makeup, and she said, yeah, she breaks her makeup and stuff. And she said, but this is what happens when you have the one that you love so much, or something. Just stupid stuff. It was just, and her mom was right there. You could hear her mom, because her mom was changing Cece and asking. She said, no, Mom, I got it. And she didn't really. Cece wanted her to hold her, and she didn't. Oh, her and her milk. I mean, all she was doing is complaining about those kids all through that whole video,
Right.
and it just turned me off. It did. Just
Right. And the video wasn't really that long, but it seems like she could have at least faked her way through.
yeah, yeah. And I think later that night's when she did the one, and she's when she was doing the mask and taking the makeup off, and she went after Chris. He was in there doing the laundry and stuff. Oh, he'll get me a glass of wine. He'll come do this. He'll do anything. He does anything I tell him to do.
Yeah,
That was
he'll
later
do.
that night. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all disturbing. And
Sebastian says, I earned this pro bar, kid.
yeah. Well, I I don't know. I'm telling you, I don't know what to think. I just think there's just a lot more. And I think a lot of people in the family, actually both families, covered a lot of things up, including Chris. I think they covered things up. I think the friends, what friends she had, if you want to consider them friends, a lot of people knew. And I think that's why she wasn't, a lot of people, even in the neighborhood, wasn't really aware that there was kids, or her, that they even lived there, or even knew about the kids or anything. I just
Yeah.
think she was just watched constantly, and unless she was supervised, I don't think she could be around and just out and open doing things like, I mean, they could even have a little swimming pool out in the backyard. I never even seen that, like most kids have to play in.
Right.
And they were scared to death of water. That's just, instead of those squirting them with a water bottle, get them a little pool to play in, That's what most parents do. Or let them play at the water hose, squirt each other with the water hose, My kids love doing that, playing in little mud puddles in the back. I mean, that's what they did for entertainment. But I didn't see any of that, or even have that little pool and they jump off the swing and jump into a little pool of water. You don't see any of that stuff. Those kids were terrified of water. And the beach, yeah, sand, anything that touched them like that. Even the rain and the hail in the video, Bella was terrified of it.
That's what Cindy Watts said, was that Bella was afraid of everything.
Yeah, just like she was, just paranoid about everything. And she'd jump a lot of times. If you'd watch her, she'd jump, in those too. I noticed that, her act. But they always cling to me. They always were more clinging to with their dad. They may have tried to act like she was a mom as grown up, but I don't see it. I don't see any of that stuff. I just don't see it.
Yeah, same here. And also, if you think about it, they were in daycare all day. I think he picked them up from daycare at like 4:30, and then they were in bed by 6:30. So they didn't even have a chance to have time outside or to, go have fun.
Well, he had to come home from work and go straight. He had to get the car because he wasn't allowed to use the company vehicle to transport family around in. So he come home, got cleaned up to get in the car to go get them. And I do think that they weren't even, by the time he got their bath, got them, fed, read him a story. It was time for him to go to bed. They probably weren't even up 2.5 hours from the time they got out of school until the time they were in bed.
Yeah. And then they were expected, according to Cindy Watts, to stay in their beds for 12 hours.
I mean, it's just, yeah, to what, 6:30 the next morning? I mean, nothing even open to where they could go to the bathroom or anything. I mean, that's just, I don't know. No wonder they wanted their water bottle and buy them, because 12 hours in a room, I mean, with nothing to drink. And how are you supposed to, making them hold themselves that long, go in the bathroom? I don't know. That's just, or what if they get sick and they started vomiting the night? How would you even know? I mean, I just don't get that,
Remember too, that didn't they both have asthma? If you have a child with asthma, you don't stick them in bed for 12 hours a night.
No.
Not
and you have to make sure they're doing okay too. As much as she claimed they were sick all the time, it just you don't put them in a locked room, that's for sure.
Right. If they had trouble breathing in the middle of the night, then how would they get attention, from their parent?
How would you know to do a breathing treatment on them, or give them, some albuterol in an inhaler if they go into an attack? I mean,
Right.
If they're locked in a room, you're not going to know. Yeah.
And if they're truly that sick, then they are getting those breathing treatments every 4 to 5 hours too.
That's true. But I think the breathing treatments, I think that was all fabricated. That's something she bought online. And I think there was a lot of, I know there, she talked about a lot of oils and stuff in her bathroom. And I think those kids breathe that constantly, that they shouldn't have been around.
Well, in that letter that Christopher Watt's mother-in-law wrote to law enforcement, I think she was encouraging her daughter to take her to get another opinion or whatever, because she thought for sure they were sick. And then finally, I think she said one day the doctor wasn't there and the physician assistant said, yes, they both have asthma. It's like, how many times did the doctor say, no, they don't have asthma? And what did they breathe in the meantime?
I think, SW, I think her mom pushed that stuff because that's what she supposedly had. You got to go back and listen. If you go back and listen to that video she did out the cemetery, oh my gosh, it's just like a pattern to me forming. She was like that. Her aunt did her that way. Her mom wasn't involved. She was sick and went to doctors. And then in SW's dad's interview, he talked about all the times that she was seen from the doctors for headache. They have things for migraines and all kinds of things. You wouldn't have to spend years trying to find a doctor to treat a migraine. I mean, they would have, if she'd had all these other issues even then, it should have showed up in any kind of lab work they did. I mean, they would have constantly been trying to work a series up to find out what was wrong with her and make sure she didn't have a brain tumor and stuff if she's having those kind of headaches. This whole thing just makes no sense with the kind of medicine we have now. And especially even when she was growing up, it was advanced enough to be able to tell things on CT scans and stuff. I have a daughter that's just 2 years older than her. My youngest daughter's 2 years older than SW was, supposedly I'm saying. But she was born, my daughter's born in 82. But I mean, there's just so much stuff that had advanced from back in the 69 when I had my first child, and in the early 70s. It changed. The medicine advanced and they had all kinds of new stuff come out, ways of determining so much stuff just through, CT scan, a little bit of labs or something,
When my first was born, and my second, so it would have been even a few years after that, the pediatrician that I chose was the head of pediatrics for the big hospital in the city. And he was, highly acclaimed as being the best in town. And he used to enjoy a pipe in his office, which was at the end of the hallway. He had like 4 or 5 exam rooms, examination rooms. And when you walk in that office, or back then, he didn't do it after a few years, but the office was seriously like, and the pipe smoke smelled really good. It was like a very pleasant aroma.
Yeah.
But you could walk in and you immediately, as soon as you open the door to that pediatrician's office, you could smell the pipe smoke.
Right. And back then they even smoked in the dark. Even patients could sit in a waiting room and smoke.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sure did. Yeah. It was, it wasn't known to be a problem then.
The nurses and doctors used to smoke in the hospitals too.
Right. They let them smoke, and their patients smoked in their room, and they even smoked around babies on the maternity floors and everything. Yeah. It was really, it was really open. I mean, really open. And I never will forget, my mom had seen this doctor at Mayo Clinic, and he was the heart doctor. And do you know that he actually sat there and said, he said, the one thing I can't stop, I can't quit smoking. And here he was, a heart doctor, knowing. And he said, I know what it can do, but it's a bad habit. I can't beat it. He said, isn't it sad? Yeah. That's what a cardiologist told her. And I thought, so, people, there's things crutches people do have, but I don't know. It's just when people are fabricating all kinds of illnesses and stuff with as many people that are truly sick, and children and people that really have all these serious autoimmune diseases. I mean, these people go through horrible lives. They're in pain all the time. They're suffering all the time. They're limited to what they can do. They're almost just, tied down to being homebound and stuff because they can't do anything. Everything they do, it causes them more complications, or they're in pain all the time. And who wants to live like that if you don't? Who wants to fabricate that stuff just for attention? I just don't understand it. It's just
What
and
I don't
other just to get
understand,
money, I guess. That's the only thing, so you don't have
what,
to really make a living.
what I don't understand are two things. One is while she was alive, why didn't people who were interviewed later, why didn't they step up and say there's something wrong here? Or did they? Maybe, I don't know. And then after her death, why is it so important for people to pretend that she had all of those diseases when they have an autopsy report that says she was physically healthy?
Well, why are some things sealed on the autopsies and some things not? And why is there 60 pages in the discovery missing? I have a lot of questions why there's a lot of things going on and things have changed and things have just disappeared. And it because there's something we're not being told things. It's simple. If all this stuff is cut and dried, then there shouldn't be anything sealed and they should be willing to put all this out, willing to get it out in the open, but that's not what's going on. And that's why it sparks people to check into things even more because they know people aren't being honest. It doesn't make sense. The stuff makes no sense the way that they've tried to explain all this. It doesn't make sense. And I'm never going to accept it being the way that he went in there and lost it and he killed everybody and he did this and he put the kid. I don't believe that. I
I
just
don't
don't
believe
believe
it
it.
either. I
I
don't
just
believe it
don't believe
either.
it.
I was watching another channel, and the guy has like tens of thousands of subs,
Hmm.
and it's not one of them in this drama part. It's a regular true crime channel, and he was talking about a case, and then he mentioned the Stephen Avery case, and he mentioned another one, and he said in both cases, I think they're innocent, or no, yeah, I think he was saying innocent for Avery, and then guilty for Zimmerman, guilty for Casey Anthony, that kind of thing. And he was right up there, giving his opinion on different cases. And he was different each time than what the actual verdict was, right? And nobody started yelling at him. That's what we do in the true crime community. We have our own opinions about these cases. And I agree with Paula. I do not believe that Christopher Watts murdered anybody. I don't. I think he should start telling the truth, quite frankly. And I think that if for no other reason, Bella and Cece Watts deserve, I think, for the truth to be known. And you know what? Other children deserve for us to learn from this case. If there are other children out there who are being given Benadryl and Tylenol every night at 6:30 p.m. and stuffed in bed behind a locked door, maybe, just maybe,
I'm going to try this again if I don't get dropped.
All of a sudden you were gone. I'm like, oops, there she goes.
But one thing that really stands out to me, and it majorly stands out to me, why, when they were talking to CW, would you tell me, please, why his back was to the cameras and what and who puts their hands on somebody and rubs their shoulders like that on a potential murder? I don't
Yeah.
just don't
Yeah.
hear those things. It's not normal.
I agree. I've never seen any of those police interrogations where the suspect has his back to the camera. I've never seen that before with any other case. And also touching him, if that was a male detective and that was a female suspect, I bet everyone would be flipping out about that. But I guess because he's male, whatever.
Yeah, that don't make sense to me. And it didn't make sense to me when the phone call come and there's somebody that's from somebody endangered and somebody missing, both there, and they go into a home and they allow people just to walk in, not even knowing what they're going in there and going to find, including a little bitty preschool, a little bitty toddler going in there. I don't get that, letting it run all over. That makes no sense to me at all.
At all, that they were just, roaming the entire house. If that
and
was
contaminating everything, they just contaminated everything by touching it.
Exactly. If that was a possible crime scene, then why were any of the other people allowed inside?
Yeah, and how did some of them go in there and just go right to and find certain things that knew certain? It just amazes me how a teenage boy, would know the color of sheets and the pattern of sheets. That just blows my mind, because that's something most teenage boys don't pay any attention to, the color of the sheets or the design. They just don't.
Well, and they both seem to have total run of the house too. Like they were very familiar with the second floor. That
Mm.
doesn't make sense to me. If I guess if they're friends, whatever, but how much time did they spend upstairs?
Well, if what NA said, and what she said about that her son could go with her and help talk her down, and get her to calm down. If that actually went on, that's very possible he did know. Maybe she was up in the bed and flipping out, and he actually did know what went on and stuff, and spent a lot of time up there trying to help his mom calm her down at times. I mean, that kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Right. And
Um,
somebody said that the phone number was in the phone under mom's work for
yeah.
Christopher's life. So yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense too.
And I still, when he, do you remember me? That's the first thing he said to that cop when he walked up. He said, "Hey, you remember me, don't you?" I mean, and yeah, and she was afraid, didn't want to talk to him. She's afraid of going to jail, afraid of getting arrested. There's just these things aren't normal. These don't happen normally. And then who you hear about, supposed to be a triple homicide and all this stuff, and then in 3 days they've got it. It's an open and shut case in 3 days. 3 days. He didn't even know what girl was in what oil tank. But that wasn't the first time we heard of oil. We heard about oil in Dr. Phil, didn't we? So yeah. Um,
I
mm,
was surprised they released the house back so soon. I thought for sure they would have taken a lot of, and maybe they did take a lot of samples of stuff, but yeah, I was surprised they released the house back so soon.
and what was in all those paper sacks that went out when the defense team supposedly went in there to do their whatever they went in there and did? All those sacks that just were sacked up in paper bags. What was in them? We don't know.
Right. Exactly. It seemed weird too. On one photo, they had everyone walking out of the house with their evidence in those bags,
Hmm.
and they were all like 4 or 5 feet away from each other, kind of single file. I thought that looks kind of different how they're all walking out, spaced out exactly. Kind of, I don't know. It seemed kind of maybe that's how they do it. Maybe they gather it up and they just walk out in single file. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
and no family photographs on the walls of the kids or of them together. As many pictures that was on YouTube and stuff. I didn't see any pictures on any walls of any of them as a family, or like you'd have in your kids' room. You've got different stages, like when they were born and growing up. They put them. I didn't see any of those things. You just didn't see things like that sitting around. I didn't see a lamp in there that sat on like you usually have on the end table in the kids' room. There was no everything. There was nothing in the rooms, but I don't think that their bed
yeah,
and a dresser,
yeah.
and
Their bedrooms
that was
did
it.
not. Yeah, their bedrooms didn't look like they were lived in.
No, the house didn't even look like kids lived there. Really, it didn't.
Yeah,
It didn't look
I
like that at
agree.
all. Mm.
I agree. Here's a good point here. He has a November court date for an August case.
Mm.
I've
Yeah.
waited longer for a traffic case. That's a really good point. That is the fastest ever that I've seen on any of these cases in the headlines.
Yeah. There's just and what did they go make that trip? When was it? In February, back to visit him in prison. What did they really go there for? It wasn't about no shadows and nothing. That wasn't it. I think they was trying to get him to come around and say what actually he was hiding. That's what I think. And
I
I think
think
if
that
his mother could have talked to him beforehand, she couldn't say anything. They told her she couldn't talk to him about the case or the plea bargain or anything. I think if she'd been allowed to talk to him like most normal people get to, I think she could have reached him. I really do.
I do
But I
too.
think after 90 days in there, and I think his mind, I really think he just went into a total. scenario about this. He blamed himself because he knew there were things going on. He didn't do anything to prevent those girls from being
Didn't
not
he
here
say?
anymore.
Didn't he say to his mother later on? I think he said they broke me.
Yeah, I think they did. I mean, if you're in paper clothes and 90 days in isolation and stuff, and you're hearing people, hollering and stuff like they claimed he did, through the walls and stuff, and they, even if they took him for anything, they shut everything down. It's just the whole thing makes no sense. It's just, I have a son that's been a cop. He was a cop for years, and he said nothing makes any sense. It's not normal. Even when they went out there that day, he said that's just not normal protocol in cases like that. They just
Years
don't open a
ago,
house up.
years ago, I was a police dispatcher, and when I listened to that phone call, I just questioned all the way through it. That I'm like, wait a minute, what? This isn't how they go. Why is this so different
Mm-hmm.
than the norm?
Right.
I mean, they pretty much just let the caller keep right on talking, and that isn't how it works. The dispatcher takes control of the conversation and asks the questions, and there are many questions, in my opinion, that should have been asked that were never asked.
And I don't
If
even, all this stuff when she was in North Carolina for all these weeks just to visit stuff, and she was out of network that couldn't go. Yes, you can. In those kind of emergencies, if you're spotting and you're cramping and there's a possibility you're miscarrying, you can go to the emergency room. He should have had good enough insurance that you can use that any place. If you're on a vacation or something, many people have things happen and their
right,
insurance covers it. I mean, that makes no sense.
I don't believe that excuse at all. Not at all.
And then she come back home and she still had what, 2 or 3 days she could have gone and she still didn't go. And supposedly was in Arizona with the same problems. I mean, people need to really stop. And she was dreading her doctor's appointment. Why was she dreading it? What was they gonna
Yeah,
find out that, what was she dreading? That was gonna be a horrible day.
right. And why is it we're the only ones talking about her not going to the prenatal care at all?
And why did they show an old picture of her on the missing thing when she was actually pregnant with Cece instead of with this baby? I don't get that either. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. People need to wake up. I mean, it just, when they can answer a lot of these questions for me, then and make sense of it, then I might listen to them, but tell them, nah.
Well, and
No.
the parallel of the attacks against us, it's like, not only are we not getting any straight answers, that's what it seems like, but we're also being attacked for discussing it, right?
Yeah, for asking the questions, for bringing this out and saying, does this make sense? This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Trying to make people aware of things that doesn't make sense, and it's to where they could try to understand where we're seeing this and the things we've looked at, and they're not interested in that. It's like they've got a shut mind to, this is what happened, and he confessed, and this is the way it is, and there was 12 others and NK involved, and it's a big conspiracy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. All those people aren't going to stick their neck out to do anything to end up in prison for the rest of their life over something like this. It makes no sense.
I think Christopher Watts said to Cindy that he decided he was going to take responsibility for what happened. I think
he felt guilty. I think he felt guilty about a lot of stuff. I really do.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially his kids not being there anymore, and he knew he should have stepped in, and I think he was doing something, but he waited way too long to step in and do something. He really did.
Well, I think he was on his way out the door. I think he was taking the kids with him.
Oh, I do too.
And if any of you know anything about domestic violence, that is the most dangerous moment of the relationship.
It is. I lived it for 9 years with my first husband, and they will hunt you down and make your life miserable. It just, it's scary. And you don't want your kids, and the first thing they held over your head is, I'll kill the kids or I'll hurt the kids if you leave, this and that. That's what they do.
Right. They'll try to use the kids to keep you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They make those threats. And, when you're younger and those things going on, and like I said, back in the early 70s, you didn't talk about this stuff. You didn't talk about domestic violence or how the places that you've got now. It was like a shut door. People didn't talk about their personal things. They kept it quiet. They did keep it in a closet.
even law enforcement, when I first started dispatching, it was before they passed the laws to
Mhm.
change all that. And we had dispatchers and police officers who would say, "Oh, it's a family matter," and they wouldn't send help.
Yeah, they wouldn't get involved. I know.
That's
Yeah, it's
a family matter.
mm,
I
yeah.
always say it used to be legal to beat on women and children. You couldn't kill them, but you could beat on them and probably
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Hmm. Well, look at how I think CPS a lot of times lets people down, lets children down, especially. They let them down because they go out and a lot of times they can't get in a place or something goes on and they don't go back. Or by the time they get to where they can go back and do something, it's too late.
Well, I think
Um,
they're overworked and underpaid too.
yes, I do too. And it's dangerous, you know. It really is dangerous going into a lot of people's homes now because there's been a lot of caseworkers and people that have been hurt trying to remove children or trying to go in and resolve situations. I mean, you hear about it. You
Right.
do hear about it from time to time. Yeah.
Right. Can you imagine that? I mean, I think the burnout rate is pretty high with that profession.
Mm-hmm.
I think very few people are, you know, sticking around for the full career. I think they might use it as a stepping stone. A lot of them, I think, start off with like a CPS type job, and then they go on to get their MSW, and then they open their own practice.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and with everything being shut down as much as it had, and all this stuff going on, and offices being shut, you know, off and on for the last 2 years, it's really it's done a lot of damage to a lot of different services that they're just backed up. They're backed way up on stuff now. They just are, and I think a lot of things are never going to get taken care of. That's probably been waiting to be heard or done. It's just the courts are um, overloaded with cases too right now. The jails are overloaded. They're letting them out, letting them out. A lot of them that have, especially ones that have drug issues and stuff, and have been serving things for over drugs and stuff. They're letting them out. They don't have room for them. They don't want to fool with it anymore. It's just a big headache for everybody.
Oh, that is cute. I just got an email from Extinct Tube. That is
Mm.
cute. That is cute. And I wish I knew how to put it up on the thing. It's
No, we're
where are
supposed to
we
be
here?
good at this, didn't you know? And this is what
Yeah,
we.
really. Yeah, we have all these channels and all these. There we are. It's
Yeah.
Alice Cooper, I think. Is that Alice Cooper, Extinct Tube? I think it's actually Alice Cooper in his kitchen. It's a good
Brother.
one.
Uh-oh.
It was cute.
Hmm. Yeah, but I do think you're right. I think we need to concentrate on more on the just as much as we can. We get have so many attacks and stuff coming on us all the time and disruptions, but
I
I
know
think
it.
trying to focus on the children would be, the right direction. And we have tried to do that. It seems like somebody's always trying to do something to disrupt stuff and
I know
cause
it. And
drama.
it's hard to know what to do, right? It's hard to know how to handle that whole mess going on because
Hmm.
it's 3.5 years and they're still going at it. So, 3.5 years later, I guess we have to ask ourselves, should we just really put the earplugs in and the blinders on and just keep talking about the case?
Hmm. Well, see, that's what they're complaining about. Why are we talking about it? It's been 3.5 years. That was a big deal, last night. Why are they still talking about the case? Why not move on to something else? That's their focus. They don't want us talking about it either. That's the thing. It's not just
But that's what
that we're discussing it. Is they don't want us talking about it. Period. They want it put aside.
well,
I
that's
think if
what
you,
actual
mhm.
true crimers do. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
the Betty Broderick group that I have, they've been going strong for I don't know how many years. The
Mhm.
Stephen Avery case, I have a group called Justice for Teresa Halbeck. That's been going on for years. People do that. That's what
And
true
that
crime is.
Gerson, that Anna Draco or whatever, that case has been being looked at and looked at and looked at. Um,
They
you
even
know, the
still talk about the O.J. Simpson case. I mean,
yeah, even that.
what was that, like 1994, I think? You
Casey
know,
Anthony, they still go back to that. They even go back to the Diana Downs thing. you know, the
Exactly.
way back to
Exactly.
that. Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I wrote a little chaplet on the Diana Downs case. I actually emailed back and forth with her brother quite a bit. He's a good brother, I'll tell you that. He stands by her side.
Yeah. And there's clearly somebody there. She's clearly someone that had some mental issues. That's for sure. I think she did. I think she was really, I think she was extremely intelligent, but she was whacked out. I mean, I don't know. She was really messed up in her line of thinking. I don't know. Just,
One thing
ugh.
that I think she got a bad rap about big time was that she was a surrogate, and society really made mincemeat of her for being a surrogate because it was brand new back then. And so
Mhm.
they really equated being a surrogate with being some sort of a bad person. And I always thought that that was kind of unfair to characterize her like that because she was a surrogate. I thought,
Yeah.
now if someone says they're a surrogate, people say, "Oh, good for you. You're
Yeah, they
such a
put them on a
generous person."
pedestal, don't they? Yeah. That they're doing a
Yeah,
big,
but they made
wonderful thing for
her
someone. Yeah.
right. They made her out to be just the hanging out at the corner bar or something.
Yeah, that and all they were doing was in it for money and stuff. That was the whole thing, that they weren't thinking about helping a family at all. It's just all about the money and recognition. And that's most of them don't think that at all. A lot of them do want to see people have children, and they do it.
Interesting. MJ is saying, I hate to say this, but Paula is a snitch causing problems between channels. When is this going to stop? This is a
I'm a
crime.
snitch.
Just discuss the case. MJ,
Mm,
I don't think Paula's a snitch.
mm,
I think Paula's been attacked and attacked and attacked from the looks of things with all that. Remember that channel? How they
mm.
turned even the I can't. It doesn't even matter what the name of it is. The channel where you guys started to talk about how you were treated, and then the
Hmm.
people with the channel started attacking too. It was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
I think MJ, if you haven't been attacked, then it might be kind of hard to understand. And I know sometimes when we're talking about it too, it might be like, oh, they're talking about getting attacked, but it is part of the discussion of the case of Christopher Watts because the parallel attacks all along the way and the way they started right off the bat attacking people before the case discussion even got off the ground. I think that matters. We're being told by one of the family members that we'll never know the truth about this case,
Hmm.
and then for 3.5 years there are many of us who have been getting attacked. And
Oh, I have all the emails of the attacks that I've gotten, stuff, and the threats and everything. People watching me, and I better keep my mouth shut and all kinds of stuff. Nobody needs to tell me that I'm double doing nothing. I'm here. I don't go any place. I'm not interested in other creators' channels. I've been there. I don't care to be associated with them.
well, and if you go here or there or everywhere, it's like everybody in this live chat has I mean, we're all adults. You have the right to go to whatever channel you want to go to, of course. And you know, that's the thing about this channel. All opinions really are welcome here. So if Paula thought that, Christopher Watts killed everybody and I thought he didn't kill anyone, Paula would still be up on the panel. Oops, Paula just fell off the panel. There, I put the link in again. Yeah, exactly, Christy. Christy says, I agree, Paula's at the end of her tether. I don't blame her. Try getting a dead rat in your mailbox. That happened to Paula. And Paula, as far as I can tell, didn't do anything wrong. And, the whole idea that somebody was offended or somebody, whatever, go in real life is absolutely wrong. Red Shoe says, would love to do the Kurt Cobain case here. Think Courtney Love is guilty? Really? Do you really? Of conspiracy. So would that be like, what was it, doing drugs or whatever? Marge says the Watts case has a lot of grifters counting on the long con, which is what separates this from all others. Red Shoe says yes. Set him up. Really? I didn't know that. Marge says yes, definitely a Kurt Cobain case. Oh, I'm going to have to learn about the case because I don't know about it. I don't know very much about it. Oh, it looks like Paula's signal is probably giving her trouble. There, I put the link in again, Paula. I'm going to send a text message here. Straight up says conspiracy content no good. What conspiracy content? The conspiracy thing was about the Kurt Cobain case. Marge says Kurt was leaving her. Oops, it went too fast. Hold on. Kurt was leaving her, I believe, for Kristen, that also died shortly after. What? I don't know that case. Sorry, you guys. Straight says that case is controlled on this platform. Oh, that's all we need is another case where we're not supposed to talk about it. I don't know. I gravitate toward cases where there are kids. That seems to be, although I have, like the Broderick case, that was the ex-husband, but pretty much I gravitate toward the cases that are about the kids, like the Rosenbaum case. Mensa, how about Elaine? How about Elaine? What do you mean? The Clutter family murders? I don't know that one either, Lilibet. Oh, Sophia, I think you mean Andrea, is it? Was it Andrea? Or is that another one? I don't know, Christy. I don't know. I said to Paula earlier that I went ahead and reached out to her with my email address and my phone number. And I told her that I think Set the Record Straight is right, that I think they're like in her ear, you know? Andrea Yates. Yep, that was her name. Sebastian's watching the Mark Severs case. Is that the one with the wife who was the chiropractor? The one where the guy went to his buddy's wedding and then talked to him about killing his wife for him? If that's the one you're talking about, I thought that was really weird how they both looked so much alike. The husband and the buddy. They looked very much alike. Yeah, I never got into discussing the McCann case. Yeah, his interrogation is something else. His testimony, too, I think. I know Sophia, I think she actually had a lot of warning signs, and they weren't leaving her alone for the most part. They had other people with her. But there was just a little bit of time. I think it was a half an hour or an hour between the time her husband had to leave for work and her mother in law was going to arrive that day, I think, to stay with her and the kids. And that's when it happened, as soon as her husband left for work. There's a good case, Mrs. Ben. That's a really good case to look at. The case of Susan Smith. That was a shocker. And that happened not that long before the case of Darlie Routier. Because people who support Darlie Routier say that because of the Susan Smith case, Darlie got treated worse. They said that people just figured she was the Susan Smith of Texas. Exactly, Marge. They were told to stop having babies. I think it might have helped her mental health too if she wasn't living in a bus for all that time with all those kids. Wench, I don't know what my opinion is. I really don't. Because I question sometimes with a lot of the other channels what they've got going on, really. PM Reddy says, my coworker said that Susan Smith did it the day the story came out, and I thought she was crazy. I didn't. I didn't think she did it. I thought she was just this poor, terrible, you know, soul who just had some kind of carjacking or whatever. I fell for it. Did you guys know that Andrea Yates was a nurse? She was an RN. Did you know that? She was very smart. She was at the top of her class. She was a highly skilled nurse. Isn't that terrible that she needed help, evidently, that she wasn't getting enough of, I guess. Daisy Day says, I'd love to drive. What? Oh, dive into? I bet you meant to say dive into the Molly Martin's case. That's an interesting one too, isn't it? I'm glad that his family stepped right up and got custody of the kids quick. Christy wants me to tell you a secret. What secret do you want to know, Christy? PM Ready says, I thought she was carjacked. I thought it was really good investigative work when they realized that the intersection that she claimed she had stopped at, and that's where the carjacking took place, that at that intersection, there would have had to have been oncoming traffic or traffic coming from the other direction for her to have had to stop at that point. I think is how they kind of started getting the idea that she might have been lying. Go ahead, Christy. What secret do you want to know? What secret are you talking about? Marge says, spill it, Mensa. Okay, you guys, go ahead and ask me questions. I'll answer them. No, I haven't had 5 husbands. Is that what you're wondering? No, I'm not collecting alimony from any dead husband. And if people knew anything about alimony, then they would know that you don't collect alimony from a dead husband. Oh, okay. I got you, Christy. Okay. So let's see. Well, the other day we were talking about that letter from Christopher Watt's mother-in-law. And right in the first paragraph, I think it was, maybe the second, she said that months after Christopher Watt's wife met Christopher Watts, she called her mother and said that she met someone. I think that's kind of huge. I do. And I think there's a reason why it was months later. And then months after that, according to Christopher Watt's mother-in-law in the letter that she sent to the law enforcement, they had that cookout for Christopher Watts to introduce his parents to his new love. What's that, 6 months later? What's that about? Well, I have a theory about what that's about. Wench is laughing. Wench was hoping I had 5 husbands and was collecting alimony from a dead husband. Nope, not true. Oh, also, I don't need to have any sort of supervision to spend time with my grandbabies. In fact, I've spent in the last 6-7 weeks, I've spent about 3 weeks with my grandbabies and there was no supervision going on. So that's all a bunch of baloney too. Oh, and I'm not lying about my education or my careers at all. And yes, I do work, and I always have worked all of my adult life, and even as a teenager too. Sophia says, did you get evicted? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you get evicted for dumping an ashtray outside your apartment? 2 things, Sophia. I've never been evicted from anywhere, and I don't think I've ever lived in an apartment. Oh my gosh. That's a new one. I haven't received an email on that one, Sophia. I read one time where they were saying that my parents were involved with like 20 evictions or something like that. They left out the part about how my parents were the ones who owned the rentals. And they actually did not make it a practice to evict people either. They would let people live there who weren't paying their rent if they needed some help. Marge, sometimes they say I had 28. 28. But did I dump an ashtray? I don't know what you're talking about, PM Ready. I've never been evicted. I've never been involved with any ashtray altercation. I don't know what you're talking about. If they're sitting over there talking about me, they're lying. I think we can sum it up that way. Yeah, I wondered when you said tie bits, I thought maybe you meant tidbits, Christy. I posted one of the comments and I never got around to reading it because we were talking up here. The comment was about how Christopher Watt's wife asked Bella if she wanted this flavor or that flavor. And Bella chose whichever flavor she wanted. And then she went ahead and chose the other one instead of the one Bella said. Oh, Mrs. Ben says that my son lives in a shed and cleans the house because it's so dirty. Yeah, that one's rich. I don't have shed dweller children, and I don't even have a shed.
That's where all the stuff come out about the ashtray and the throwing cigarette butts out. It's all that bullshit last night over there. Just, I'm telling you that.
Yeah,
it's the girl that was in the chat that was putting a lot of somebody from the something from the hood. I don't know what her name was, but yeah, she was feeding that stuff in the chat.
Yeah, the whole thing is just weird.
Well, it's just like when they sent all my stuff out and made it public on the my email and did a background check on me. There was an incident. I used to work at the Waffle House and I worked the really late night thing. And we got, of course, a lot of drunks and a lot of people. You know, it's pretty intoxicated in there during that time. And we had this one girl come in and she was spent most of the time in a bathroom with this dude and come back out. And they finally ate and left. Well, later on, we found her purse up underneath the booth. And somehow or another, about 11 o'clock the next day, I got accused of taking something out of her purse, her wallet or something. Well, little to be known to them, after they went ahead and filed a $50 to a $250 thing on me for theft. A lot of this. They didn't know that there's cameras in the Waffle House that watched everything. And had the district attorney seen it, then it would never have gone as far as it did. And the day I went to court, they cut it right there. I said, "Are you crazy?" And they said the only thing they could see was out of 3 people that I was the only one working at that time. Everybody else was goofing off. That's what they seen. The rest of them stand outside smoking and goofing off, and I'm in there cleaning and doing the work. So, yeah. But if she wanted to rub that, she said, "But we really know what happened, don't we, Paula?" Yeah, well, that is the truth. What happened, and you couldn't find anything else on me but that shit. So good way to go, girl. I mean, I'm almost 71. That's all you found on me. That's all. I've never even had a ticket or a car wreck. So I feel very proud of your background work and what you did.
I don't know if they're saying the same crap they've been saying for the last 3.5 years, but they've also said that I lied about my education. They said that
they were saying that too. Yeah,
were they saying that last night?
They said you weren't. They said you claimed to be an attorney and you never had any training at all or anything to do with courts or something. I don't know. It was pretty extent.
For 3.5 years, they said that I lied about my undergrad, that college doesn't even exist, and that I'm using my son's credentials as a lawyer, that I'm just lying about it, and that I've never been a real estate broker. you know, they're making that crap up as they fly, you know. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Yep.
It
They
is
sure are.
it is beyond the pale, seriously, because like even the avocado said, well, yeah, I think she wrote a couple of books or something. If she's so invested in trying to attack me, then I guess she should read something other than what a bunch of scumbag attackers are handing her to read, you
Well,
know?
and the one girl was saying that you wrote a book about her husband and her and that Amy, and that she supposedly you put in there where she killed Amy or something. They were getting really tacky in there last night. I mean, it was bad. The stuff
I wrote
that they
I
were
wrote a
putting out in
fictional
there.
I wrote a fictional
Hmm.
story about scumbag attackers online who made the mistake of targeting a woman who was an undercover police officer.
Hmm.
And it was a fictional story. At the very beginning, I said, if any of this story is, you know, if it leads you to believe that it's anything more than a coincidence, right? Then
Hmm.
definitely let us know and we'll have our lawyers hop right on it.
Right.
Basically saying if these are things you've done, okay, then let us know if this story bothers you. That book was written, I think it was 12 months after they started attacking me.
Mm.
It was written 11 months after they started harassing my children. You know, I mean, they had a full year there of absolutely attacking me
Hmm.
before I wrote that little fictional piece that, hey, if they think it's about them, then what that tells me is that they were doing the things that were in that fictional story.
Oh yeah, and then just another creator just happens to pop in. That's um oh, I'll just say, oh, Cher. Um, she wants to pop in and is encouraging her to sue you over the book and stuff and get money. Yeah, she don't even know what's going on, but that's what it's. Go after somebody, sue them, and see what you can get. Yeah,
Well,
she said, "Well,
I would
I was
definitely,
going to do that, but she doesn't have anything." That I'm telling you, it was the biggest
I would,
trashing that I've ever seen in my life of anything that whoever these girls were in the chat and stuff, they were
I would definitely,
trashing.
I would definitely take legal advice from Cher.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, she did one thing I can tell you. She did get her teeth done. She has a whole mouthful of teeth
Good,
now. So yeah,
good for her. That's a good thing.
yeah. But I mean, she just popped in, see, out of nowhere. They're popping in people that's not been involved in anything for a while, and they're coming out of like the woodwork. It paints a big story. Like I said, it's painting a big story to me of what's going on.
Well, Wench just made a good point. They were writing the slanderous comments in the live chat, and then she was reading out those comments.
Yep.
That's what's going on. The attackers are actually in her ear, getting her to say stuff, trying to pit her and I against each other, and you know, basically operating their attacks as they normally do by using other people to do it.
Hmm.
That's what's going on.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. She wasn't. She didn't. Even, she just read the stuff out and took it as literally being the truth. And whatever that Jessica was saying, she took everything to heart. Like and she sat there. I've only talked to her 3 times, and I've never talked to her but in these lives. But she was believing everything that come out of her mouth. Everything. I was just in shock, thinking, how can you believe all this stuff? You're reading what somebody else is saying, and then saying this. I'm telling you, I was just flabbergasted,
Here's Honey Badger. Honey Badger says they're encouraging stream.
to say
Oop,
the
can you hear
least.
me, Paula?
Yeah.
You sound faint right now. Oh,
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. Well, it's cutting out. I see Honey Badger's here. She needs to
yeah,
jump up
now
here
I
for
can
a
hear
while.
you. Um,
Maybe her signals.
Honey Badger says they're encouraging stream wars. I put the link in. Exactly, Wench. They're the actual scumbag attackers are in the chat typing their bullshit, and then they have her reading off stuff. And she doesn't realize, I don't think, that she's the one up there saying it. Here's Honey Badger. That's my
What's up, Mensa?
That's my Ed McMahon rendition.
Did you happen to catch the the shit show last night after you jumped off?
I didn't. I did tape everything because I got a call from my friend who's tracking everything, and he said definitely grab it because he and his wife were out.
There you go.
So I threw the microphone on and went to the other part of the house because so. But no, I get emails from people going, oh, they're saying this. Oh, they're saying that. And I'm looking at it just going, oh, brother, I don't even have a shed. I mean, come on.
No, they're right. They're right. What you guys were talking about and what Star Mama was talking about, other creators were coming in there and, you know, egging it on even more. So it is what it is at this point.
And I don't even think it matters who, what, whatever. It's like the flow of what they're doing. It's what they've been doing for 3.5 years.
Yeah, but it is kind of good to cut them off at the knees when you can, because it takes them. It's going to take them another month to come up with a game plan if you can shoot the one they currently have down.
Mrs. Ben says I have it recorded too. Mensa, good for you. And
we all recorded it.
Yeah, when you guys see stuff like that, definitely, if you don't mind, if you're able to, grab it, and because I mean, it is what it is. It's just I have a real problem trying to figure out how on earth 3.5 years later they're still pulling this shit. Like, why? What is it?
Because they're covering up things that they did. That's what they're doing. They all participated in some really fucked up shit, and half of them didn't know what they were really involved in, and they got used and thrown under the bus, and then they jumped in this community to sabotage channels with by basically being led by certain people. And then now they're all trying to backtrack because they realized the mess they actually created. So now they're trying to backtrack. They're trying to get out from whatever they can get out of personally, you know what I mean? And put the blame on somebody else. That's why they're like, show me proof, so that they can, downplay the shit in whatever way they can, or right. Admit to it. Because if you call them out, most of them will admit to it. If they've done something, they will admit to it. Because if you have proof, then there's no denying it. But they're not going to willingly come out and say what they were actually involved in, because they're shitheads and this is what they do for a living.
For a living, or is it just kind of like a...
Well, I mean, think about it. If they're trying to build channels and they get sucked into some group thinking that they're going to be building channels, and then all of a sudden they're attacking creators and they're like, how did I get here? You know what I mean? They could just think that it's part of the game to build channels. Right? So if this is something that they're trying to get into and trying to do, they might be linking up with the wrong person and then being used by these people to do fucked up shit in the community. Because these two that came in there, the terror twins, the two that came in, they have nothing to do with YouTube. Okay? They have nothing to do with discussing the case or researching the case or having an opinion about the case. But somehow, I think one of them had a little bit of power over the other ones and led them to believe that certain things were going on, like with you. You know what I mean? Like certain things would happen and then they would have an explanation for these people. So then these people would go on the attack toward you.
That's what I was saying to Paula, because Paula was saying how one of them was attacking her. And I said, Paula, could it be that somebody in the middle was attacking you, saying they were her? And somebody in the middle was attacking her.
Right, and that's exactly how they do it. The one who's really running the show is smarter than all these people they have running around doing their fuck shit. Okay, they're the smart ones, and they stay in the background, and they orchestrate all these other people to do things because they want their hands clean too. So the people who end up going down for this shit are the stupid ones that think they're fucking fighting for the cause, whatever that cause may be.
Right, and in the meantime, none of them are discussing the case. So
no, because that's not what it's about. No,
they're trying to delete the actual true crime community.
They're trying to delete everybody. But they also have to take down the people that they've enlisted to do this shit. So that's why you see all these other creators being attacked in lawsuits and all kind of other stuff, because they need to get rid of these people because they were useful idiots. And now they have to get rid of all the evidence.
Because they know too much.
Exactly. They don't even know what they know. Like a Kelly, or I'm sorry, the avocado You know what I mean? She's a perfect example of that right there. She's a perfect example of somebody that knows a little bit too much, that doesn't realize what they know, and is a liability to not only them, but also the people on the platform who were helping them do what they were doing.
Well, I reached out to her and I said, I think Straight might be right. I said, here's my email, here's my phone number if you, want to reach out. Because I do think she's not my favorite person. I'm not going to sit here and try to be like, oh, she's so nice. She has said some really nasty things about my family, me, my career, everything.
Right. Her first mistake was jumping on a bandwagon without researching anything and vetting her information. Before she opened her mouth, she should have made sure that you were the person that they were claiming you were. You know what I mean? You just don't go off of a dossier.
There's more, though. Here's the thing. Why would she even be discussing me? If she doesn't like what I'm doing talking about this case, why doesn't she talk about the case?
Because you're talking about Shanann. That's the excuse they're using for all this. That's the excuse. Like, nobody has a right to dictate what goes on in these communities. Nobody, like, this community doesn't have a right to dictate who stays in it either. You know what I mean? You are whatever the fuck you want to be. You're not necessarily a true part of the true crime community. You're Miss Mensa, right?
That excuse doesn't work at all because, what about the Stephen Avery case? What about the Darla Routier case?
Exactly.
What about
That's why everything they say is bullshit. But the problem is they have enough people that are going around and repeating it. And then they have people that come in here while we're talking about the case and then distract us with what the scumbag attackers are doing. And then we're just focusing on that. And then that just validates that Mensa's picking on everybody, that Mensa thinks everybody's an attacker.
But if you tear apart all of this, or not all of them, but many of the claims, whatever, I don't even know all of them. Hopefully, I don't know if I don't need to hear all of them, but just the ones I've heard, they don't make sense. One of them.
Well, that's because I think a lot of them were played. They were played to go at you, like the shit that happened in the Facebook group. I think that the one who's been busy the past couple days, I think that she is trying to piece together things because they know that people know what they were doing. They know that people have evidence on them. That's why they're trying to figure out who everybody is, because they're afraid about what's going to come out. So they want to try to get as far from whatever they can and put it on their channels and have an explanation for it before shit does come out.
So they have dirty hands and they're trying desperately.
And the one who's been running around, I don't think she knows her ass from a hole in the ground because unfortunately, I'm sorry, but she's not that bright. She was a useful tool. That's all she was. She was a useful tool for somebody who lied to her and said that all of a sudden you were attacking her when you weren't. And then you were responding to the fact that you were being attacked. So everything that you said, that person associated herself with it because you assumed it was both of them doing it. It was one of them that was conning the other one into doing it. And the other one was like, yeah, that bitch. Well, she's doing this, she's doing that. Well, I'll call her family. Fuck her if that's what she's going to do to me. You know what I mean? These people are siding with people without even really knowing the full context of what's actually going on. So then you're like, you wrote that book, you wrote that book to basically like defend yourself almost, like, you know what I mean? To kind of give a little explanation for it. But if they feel like the book is about them, then what does that tell you? That tells you that they must have been attacking you for you to write that. You know what I mean?
Right. You're talking about two different books, and I don't know if they even know it because I think they just go by what other people say.
They probably just go by what they're told, right?
Right.
And they probably don't even know the context because when you confront these people, they're confused. They're confused. They don't even know what to say and how to say it because they're confused. They don't really know why they're going after Set the Record Straight or try. You know what I mean? They don't know what they're really doing. They're kind of like, well, you did this. Well, prove it then. Well, prove it. You can't just say all these things for all these years and still be continuing to do this shit if you don't have any fucking proof. You know what I mean? Like, she has the nerve to ask you to fucking post something in 24 hours over the email comment that I made. Well, you know what? He's not posted anything for anybody to see. You posted up then.
Not another 24-hour ultimatum. We just got through the last one.
Exactly. Isn't that funny that they all like to give 24-hour ultimatums?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That the same little
and the one person who's starting all this shit is sitting back fucking laughing and then commenting back like she doesn't know what's going on. Like she doesn't have any interest in this and she doesn't care about who Set the Record Straight. Oh my God, he's getting picked on. Like that's the same bitch that was going at him in the first place. for fucking stepping in and trying to figure out what was going on with you to help you. So because he stepped in to help you, all of a sudden now we're going to drag him into the shit so we can take, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a fucking mess.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, he's over there laughing, you know what I mean?
I think people who are actual true crimers are looking at it just going, this is bullshit. It's just bullshit, all of it.
Yeah, but because of the drama and shit, you look like every other channel sometimes. You know what I mean? You look like every other channel. That's the problem. People can't tell entertainment from reality anymore. So
then I think it's important for us to try our best to just stay on the case. You know, like to just, you know what I mean? Like to put it to rest somehow, if there's a way to just put it to rest. Because I mean, I don't know if anyone cares if I have a shed or not, but I promise you my children would never sleep in a shed. They have never slept in a shed. And I don't even have a shed. You know, this is absurd that this stuff is going on.
But I think that some of them actually feel that way. Just like the one who's been running around, is she keeps saying that you had people, you know, searching for them, that you had two people searching for them. But the way that she's saying the way that she says it is very nefarious. Basically, they were going at you and people stepped up for you on your behalf to see what they were doing and why they were doing it. But the way that they tell it is that they're being attacked, right? That they're being stalked and investigated, that they're coming after us. Nobody's coming after them. You know what I mean? They're just trying to identify what's going on with these people.
Who would care about wingnuts? Seriously, who would care? Who would care?
Well, because this all stems from something. This stems from the original problem. That person, the person who runs around and hides behind everybody, she's being puppet mastered by one of the bigger people that is a huge problem. And the one who's running around right now hiding behind everybody is, you know, she's a piece of work. So she knows how to play people. That's what she does. That's her job. So she's playing all these people and creating all these messes, and nobody knows where it's coming from, who's actually doing it, what's going on. And she's just skating by. And it's just happening. Like, these people do need to be kind of like, you know, dragged out and shamed for what they're doing, because they're going around destroying people. Like, this isn't going to stop. If she succeeds in what she's doing, it's only going to get worse.
Well, I know that when I was first attacked, when I was first made aware that I was being attacked, I mean, the actual, you know, putting the pieces together at who was doing what, there were 10 of us under attack. And all 10 of us had good careers, good families, good work records, good ethics, no criminal record, no bankruptcies, right? And they were saying the same 5 things about all 10 of us. And I just posted
because
this
they didn't know you personally. They were being told what to say. That's why.
Remember Daniel Bishop said he was told when
he's another useful idiot. He's another useful idiot that needs money and is trying to build a YouTube channel.
He admitted that he was told by whoever was telling him to attack me that I was not a real person. And when he found out that I was, he actually did remove his videos, which I thought was good for him. Just like Norman, they actually realized what they were taking part in and they changed. And I respect that. I do. PM Ready says, is this the son you had when you were 14 years old, supposedly? LOL. Oh my gosh, are they saying that again? Seriously? I'll tell you, if they say that again, I definitely think that Christopher Watt's wife had a baby when she was 14 years old, because everything that they try to accuse me of, it just seems to parallel this case.
Because they don't have anything against you, and they're probably just repeating shit that you say. You know what I mean? Just repeating things that are talked about just to use it against you. Well, you're this. Well, you're doing that. Well, you're filing bankruptcy 17 times. These people aren't smart enough to be creative. You know what I mean? They're just not.
No. Those 5 points that they were attacking all 10 of us with, that was before I knew about the case.
Well, yeah, but we just talked about that, and that's what they're being told. But I'm saying a lot of shit they can use against you just by the stuff that you say. They can just use what you say against you.
I think it's interesting that the stuff that they were attacking all of us with, it wasn't true for us that they were attacking, but then we dig in further to the case and then we start to wonder, wait a minute, did she file a bankruptcy? Wait a minute, you know, is she lying about her career? Wait a minute.
There's always a target. There's always a target. Like you could have been attacked by one faction of this situation to get you to, you know, encourage you to make more videos about this case so that the Ruseks do have something to complain about. Do you get what I mean? They could have poked you to piss you off so that you did say things about the Ruseks. Do you get what I mean?
I didn't start my YouTube channel because I was pissed.
No, but what I'm saying is at this point now, you know what I mean? That's a possibility that this has been going on.
They keep trying to stir it up and try to get people
coming over acting like they're Frankie or saying some really fucked up ass shit that you know that whatever would say. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's a game, man. It's a game. Unfortunately, this is just what is being done.
Yeah, and it's so weird because it's like if this was in the first month or something, I would be sitting here going, oh my gosh, what are they doing?
And you have the people who know what's going on, who are orchestrating it. And you have the people who are going around doing all the fuck shit for the people who are orchestrating it. Some of them knowing and some of them unknowingly.
Well, for any of you yahoos out there who have been attacking me, I want you to know that you're being lied to. And the stuff that's coming out of your mouth that people are putting in your chats and stuff, they're lies. So you're saying these things about me, and it is slanderous when you do that. So
and then they say those things about you, and then you hear it, and then you get upset, and then you respond, and then they say, "Oh, she's talking about me. Oh, I'm going to do a live stream." It never ends. That's what they're doing.
I hesitate to respond. When Paula started talking about it, I was like, "Oh, here we go." You know, it's like I would rather just talk about the case. You know, that's my thing. I hate this. I am older. I honestly. I think this is like a young person's sport or something because this is just so far beyond my comprehension. Remember that? Paul saying how he blamed MM for the strike against his channel and MM got hacked at the same time. Remember that? Mm-hmm. They were using my name and reporting Set the Record Straight's channel. Remember?
Mm-hmm. And these people are, and their little trolls are claiming they're being attacked. So they could have done the same thing to their trolls.
Exactly.
They could have done the same thing to their friends saying, no, it's Mensa. It's Mensa. Oh, no. Exactly. You know, poking them while they ain't looking and then saying it's Mensa.
That's what I was trying to say to Paula earlier, that maybe it wasn't between her and that channel creator. Maybe it was someone in the middle making both of them think that they were fighting. And then somebody... And then the other channel creator hopping on telling that weirdo to sue me and stuff. It's like, what? Are you kidding me? Seriously? I mean, oh, you know, what, do they make $50 for hopping on and saying stupid stuff? You know,
I think that the lower grade people who are going around aren't even getting paid. It's not about money. That's why they're like, how are you saying we're paid attackers? Why are you calling us scumbags? Because they don't understand what they were taking part in. They don't get it. You know what I mean? They're like, you came at me and you're going to call me a scumbag. I responded. You know what I mean? They're looking at it the same way you're looking at it.
How can we help them understand that they're being used?
I don't know. I really don't. Because trying to talk to any of these people is like fucking, you know, chewing glass. And you can't get to these people. You can't. They chose these people very carefully because they're not very bright. So trying to explain anything to them is just, it's pointless because they're just like, duh. They're like, well, no, she was attacking me first. Duh. You know what I mean? That's how I responded.
If any of them are in the chat and just watching, feel free to hop up here and tell us what you're thinking, because seriously, you're not getting correct information at all. And if you think I've ever attacked you, I've got news for you. I've never harassed anybody. I've never attacked anybody. I don't have a bunch of channels. I don't have a bunch of people working for me.
No, but because you had people that actually cared enough to step up and try to help you, they're using that against you. They're using that
And I
against
want
you.
to add,
And it's almost like they're jealous. It's almost like they're upset or something that people actually give a fuck. Like, I'm sorry nobody cared about you people. It's very sad. But some of us actually do try to do the right thing when it's necessary. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly. Well, and I want to say, not only
Like
do I
they're
not
being
have,
petty, talking about you getting sent chocolate covered apples. Like, really? Like, that's something to just boggle your mind? Like,
you know, I really appreciated that when Set the Record Straight sent me flowers, sent me the chocolate covered fruits. I appreciated it so much. It's like,
well, it made a bunch of people jealous because they're still talking about it 2 years,
and
2 years
I don't
later.
mean to minimize. I don't mean to minimize the gesture because it was very special for me that he did that, and right when he did it, because the attacks were just so horrendous, and it was like, hallelujah, he restored my faith in humankind. Okay, and yet I have forgotten about that. Okay, I mean, I'm not shallow. I'm not selfish. Whatever. I have forgotten about that pretty much. I've mentioned it from time to time when we talk about the apples, whatever. But like sitting here today, I had forgotten about it. And then I'm getting an email saying, yeah, they're saying that I'm, weird about chocolate covered apples or something. I'm like, huh? And then I had to stop because it wasn't chocolate covered apples, right? And it was like slice, it was a really nice little gourmet selection, right? And it took me a second to go, oh, wait a minute. Okay, to put it together what they're talking about. So how is it that total strangers on the internet are so invested in whether or not 3 years ago I received flowers and chocolate covered fruit? Like, how do they even think about that?
And
Right?
supposedly that nobody listens to Miss Mensa, nobody cares about her, we all hate her. Why the fuck do they hang on every word you fucking say? Why are they
Exactly.
sitting there doing live streams while you're going live? Like, why? She said that, everybody who comes in this community is told to hate Mensa. Yeah, by stupid bitches like you, lady. You're the same ones causing problems, telling everybody Mensa's so bad. When she's so
Is
bad, then
told,
don't watch her channel. Ignore her.
say it again.
Ignore
You
her.
said
It's
everyone.
very simple.
Now listen. You said they say what about Mensa? You
I don't know
said
what I
when they
just said. What did I just say?
you said when they come to the community
Oh, they say that. That stay away from Miss Mensa.
Okay, so if they're being told to stay away from Miss Mensa, please heed that advice. That's good advice. Stay away
Right,
from Miss
exactly. They should do the
Mensa.
exact opposite.
Just stay away. That's a good thing. Yeah.
I don't know. But it's
Yeah,
sad. It's really sad. It's sad that like grown ass
they
people fucking act like this. You know what I mean? And
I
and
think
and and some of them do need to be confronted. Some of them do need to fucking be chewed the fuck out. I'm sorry, they do. Like, shame on you. Did your mother never correct your fucking nasty behavior? Like, the world doesn't have to deal with these people. If these people are going to be running around doing what they're doing, don't be surprised when somebody fucking claps back.
Bella said, or first Little Mama says they want to shut down the truth channels. I think that's true.
They want to become the truth channels and then shut them down. That's what they want to do.
And Bella says you have to have thick skin to deal with some of these folks. I think also you have to like know yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself because they're running around saying that I don't have my education, that I don't have my careers. They're saying that my son sleeps in a shed. Okay, you got to be able to hear that crap and just shake your head and
Because they're
go.
trying to lump you in with all the other losers on this platform who lie about themselves and are all just phonies trying to
Well,
fucking make it.
and
So
here's
that's
the
what
other
they're
thing.
doing. It's just a reflection of themselves. A bunch of fucking losers, do good losers. You're do no good losers. You know what I mean?
Well, and they're saying that I have to have supervision around my grandchildren. That is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And like, here's the thing.
They know that your kids are a really soft subject because remember when they doxed your grandkids and shit? That was fucked up. They know it's a soft subject. That's why they throw it around.
Well, I don't
Because
think
they're trying to trigger you because they want you to Marlowe. They want you to Marlowe.
I have a different opinion. I think they know how illegal that is and how absurd that makes them appear to be doxing children, to be posting their daycare center
But
address.
dumb trolls will do that shit without even thinking about it. Dumb people will do that if they're directed by other people to do it. or even just to defend for themselves. That's what like low grade minds resort to doing.
Well, that's what I wanted to say about this whole idea that they're running around saying that as a grandparent I would have to be supervised. Okay, here's the thing. Grandparents don't have to have supervision when they spend time with their grandchildren.
Yeah,
period.
right? Come on.
I'll tell you why. Because parents have the right to decide, right? The courts don't go, oh yeah, we better schedule that super. That's not how it works. It's just like they're saying that I'm collecting alimony from one of my one of my dead husbands out of. They're saying I had 5 husbands, which I didn't. That you don't collect alimony from a dead person. It's like, so like all the stuff they're saying even doesn't make sense. Just like it doesn't make sense that somebody would be upset about whether or not they got booted from being
but again, they're dumb. They're dumb. They're dumb. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know. So they're just spitting out. They get pissed off. They get mad. Just like Butterface over there. She gets mad and she just says the most fucked up shit. That's why she was chose. That's why the Terror Twin chose her, because she was reactive. She reacts fast. She doesn't look into anything, and she blindly follows fucking people who she thinks are her friends.
Okay,
that's
so
why he chose her to do that.
When they come up with things like sleeping in
sheds, and she's perfect for what they need her to do.
When they come up with things like sleeping in sheds or supervised grandparents or whatever, they're coming from their own lives, right?
Sleeping in a tent.
Well, my son is a shed sleeper and I'm a tent dweller.
Yeah, because your house was so cluttered that you had to move into a tent.
Yeah, okay.
She's like, we've decided this. We've agreed that she just lives in a tent now, because that means that they sit around and they talk about you. You know what I mean? Like little fucking catty ass bitches. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're doing. But Mensa is not important to any of them. But yeah, they've decided how you're living your life. They've sat around long enough to talk about you to decide how you're living your life.
And then one of them,
I bet that.
One of the emails I think was that she was saying I don't work, right?
Well, we obviously know she doesn't work, because she's got full access 24 hours a day for the past fucking week of her just fucking going back and forth.
But think about that, okay? Like, have they bothered to Google me?
Yeah, but at this point, a lot of them just double down. They just double down.
So they just take this,
because it's like you're not. There's a reason why you're not showing your hand, right? You're not showing your card, and there's a reason for that, and they don't understand that. So they're just trying to say whatever they can to try to test the waters and see what I can get her to say. What can I fucking dig around over here? They're trying to figure out what people know. That's what they want to do. They want to figure out what people know and who they need to be going after to keep what they were doing under wraps. And because of the fact that they don't even know, they know they've been blamed for stuff that they didn't do, but they also some of them admit to doing a lot of this fuck shit. They admit it. They're coming out admitting to it because they know that there's proof out there. They know that it's been proven. So they'll admit to the things that have been proven, but they won't admit to the things that haven't been proven yet, because until it has been proven, they will stick to their guns that they didn't do anything. And then they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, now I remember. You know what I mean?
So that would make sense why they're putting out the ultimatums too.
Yes, because they're fucking desperate. They're desperate. They're desperate and they're fucking freaked out.
I want to interrupt you just for a second, though, because I won't be discussing why I won't be saying
I know. I understand that. Trust me, that's why I said what I said.
Okay. Paul has a good idea. MM should set up a van life YouTube channel.
They'd be stalking her. And then nobody would believe her. They'd be like, oh, she's just paranoid. She's just mental. She thinks people are following her. Oh.
They'd be putting GPSs on my van.
You see the fat 90210 cast and crew back there. You know what I'm referring to.
They'd be hitchhiking, right in my path. They'd be hitchhiking.
Oh, my God.
I got to ride with Mensa.
I hate to see what she's doing to you, and I hate to see what she's doing to Straight. It fucking burns my ass, man. Especially because I know it's going on. So it burns my ass even more. And there's things that I'm not going to say because they both need to be held responsible. They both need to be held liable for what they did because, like I said, one puppeted the other one. So you need the puppet master before you fucking confront the fucking her human meat shield. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's disgusting.
But that's why she hides. That's why she hides and lets Jessica go up there and fucking embarrass herself.
Well, the whole thing about, you know, that when they first started, it was all about, oh, Mensa's Roger, Roger's Mensa, all that bullshit. And then they accused Roger of all sorts of stuff, and then they automatically tried to line me up with what they were accusing him of. I had nothing to do with him. He and I had nothing going on. We were both on Facebook talking about a stupid case. Big deal, right? But they carried that one for like a year or 2 years even. I don't even know. And then, oh, yeah, straight is Mensa's, you know, whoever. Okay, bullshit. And they know it. But they keep trying to pair me up with people. And then, like, they're probably...
I think it has a lot to do with them wanting to find out his identity. To be perfectly honest with you. You know what I mean? Like, you're, no offense, but, like, I think they can handle you alone. I don't think they can handle you with everything else.
Well, I don't think they even care about me when I'm just sitting over here talking about the cases. I think where they got triggered, and I don't mean triggered, I think someone blew a dog whistle and they all said, oh, maybe we can make more money.
Most certainly.
You know, I think was when Set the Record Straight and you and Paula and I were all up on the panel. I do.
Well, yeah, because they can't run around saying that, you know, Set the Record Straight is da 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 da. They're trying to see, there's been time that's gone by, right? And there's new people watching and there's all this confusion. So they're just trying to create more confusion. But a lot of this stuff can be set straight. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing that I really don't get, though. We're talking 3.5 years.
Oh, yeah. Well,
3.5 years.
Like I said, it took Mommy Ramblings 3.5 years to figure out multi-level marketing companies were fucking scams. Okay. So you know, the brain activity is slow in this community.
I love you, Ray. Ray says, my life is so boring compared to this. I don't care if your house is messy and you live in a tent. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, her existence probably a lot better than theirs, even if she is living in a tent.
And I will tell you this, I will happily accept anyone who wants to come on over and help me keep the place clean and organized. That's cool.
Yeah, you know what this is? This is just a bunch of bored ass fucking housewives who've turned into domestic terrorists online, and it's only going to get worse. So if you people like want to be on the internet, which is the only place you're going to be able to be like socially, you know, in the future, you better start figuring out how to navigate it safely because you're all targets. You're all just prey for God knows what.
And I've got news for you too. They don't care what the truth is because, man, they're creative. And, you know, I think they were hoping to find some sort of criminal record. So they didn't find anything. So they start, you know, creating, I guess, based on their own life experiences. Take a look at Red Shoes.
You know, there's nothing wrong with a messy house. You know what? That means that people are eating, that people are having a good time, that things are being done. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about like, you know.
Let me tell you something. For any of you who are under 61 or under 50 or under 40 or whatever, the older you get, the more stuff you have.
Yeah, and the less time you have to do it.
And the more time you're on vacation, too.
Shit.
Red Shoe says, real shed wives off grid.
There you go.
But I don't have a shed. I need a shed. Maybe we should do a fundraiser for a shed.
Yeah, there you go. So we can get Miss Mensa out of the tent.
And then Mrs.
Chocolate apples and a roof over her head. Come on, stat.
Mrs. Ben says messy houses matter. Hashtag.
And you know, I really do feel bad for Kelly. I do, because they are going to Marlo her. And she, you know what? She's done some stupid things, but I think she thought she was doing it for the right reasons. And she is going to snap. It's going to be another fucking shit show for Kelly the Avocado.
Same thought. And I actually reached out to her, like I said, and gave her my email and my phone number because I do think that she could connect the dots and figure out what's going on. The question I have is, are they throwing some money at her? You know, are they saying,
I think they're just stirring her up. All it takes is to stir people up. You would be surprised. It's gossip, man. It's gossip. and antagonizing and poking and poking and poking and poking and poking. That's what they did to her yesterday. She even said that somebody told her that the chat was going on and that they were talking about her. I wasn't even talking about her. I was actually eating, and you guys are like, "Is Honey Badger still there?" I was actually eating. I wasn't even in the conversation when you were talking about that. And then she's saying, "You're talking about my personal life and my finances." And I don't know how she gets Miss Menses digging in her finances, because Miss Menses said something along the line of, "I'm not going to go after her because she doesn't have many assets." Like, that's not digging in somebody's finances. But that's what she kept saying last night, that you're digging. So these people are adding things to it. They're not only are they going over there and say Mens is talking about you, but they're saying she's digging into your finances. She's doing this. She's doing that. They're antagonizing her. And then she's just not even hearing any of it. All she's hearing is rage, Mensa.
Right.
Right. You know, I think she's just.
I think so. I think they're working her up and trying to get her mad because they know she's going to get in front of the camera and start yelling.
Right. And they know they're doing it. When I was confronting the one, you know, she didn't have shit to say. She couldn't think of something fast enough to combat what I was saying, because she knows I'm right. She knows I'm right. And she jumped up there the second time I got on there to talk to Kelly. I was like, just let me appeal to you for a second. Let me talk to you. And she was actually, the tone, she gave me a nice tone. She let me fucking talk, and she's like, yeah, I agree. And then bam, I said, you don't understand what's going on in this community. I said, people like Jess, and bam, here she is, jumps back up there to inject herself in there because she doesn't want me telling her what's going on. And I've even given Jessica the opportunity to fucking say what she's doing. You know what I mean? But right. She doesn't want me telling her story. You know what I mean? She does not want me telling her story, because it ain't going to be as pretty as what it's going to sound like coming from her fat mouth.
Well, Bella just said that I have $1,000 book on Amazon.
Oh, it's a $2,000 book.
Oh, a $2,000.
Yes, it's a $2,000 book, and it's a scam. So when you click on it, you don't know that they're actually being charged $2,000. That you're scamming, and charging that credit card $2,000 for that book.
Wow, I guess if they know how to do that, they should let me know. You know, if they want to.
Is that just the rambling of a troll, exactly. Or is that somebody who's being fed something?
Well, that's my whole point, though. That's my whole point. Is none of this stuff makes sense.
Because somebody is puppeting these people who are their mouthpieces. So their mouthpieces are not. It's like telephone. It doesn't come out the same.
And in the middle of it
doesn't matter if it comes out the same. All it is that it's against you. As long as it's said, as long as they get the basic. As long as their little troll goes out and says the basic thing of what they want them to say, it doesn't matter if the facts are straight. It only matters that they're going after you with it.
And another thing they're doing is they're using my business email, and they're acting like they want to schedule a mediation. They think, I guess, that I'm just this old woman who's totally asinine stupid. But after 3.5 years of being attacked by them, I have figured out a few things. Okay. So I guess they think they're just going to be emailing back and forth, you know, pretending that they want to have a mediation and ask me all these questions. And it's just like, oh, come on. You know, they're in classmates.com. They're still probably
low level shit. And who the fuck is searching for classmates.com information on somebody? God knows how long. You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly. A fucking far reach to fucking dig for a troll. You know what I mean? Like, trolls have better etiquette than that. Like, real trolls, you know what I mean? Like even like the granny fannies and the real trolls in the community. Those people don't even go to the fucking lengths that these little mischievous broads that come in here do. That shit's personal, and it's nasty.
Well, and why go real life? Why? Does that usually scare people away or something?
Who knows?
I mean, it seems to me like
I think it's out of anger and rage that they can't get rid of you. So they're like, okay, well, fuck this bitch. I'm gonna go to fucking Cheaters Land and tell everybody she's a whore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
they're overstepping bounds out of rage, out of anger. These people can't contain themselves.
Okay, well, their rage and anger has nothing to do with me, because I have never done any of the crap that they're accusing me of, ever, period. So, I mean, how, after 3.5 years, can their rage and anger be building? It's because they've got someone in their ear lying to them over and over. Exactly.
There is not enough steam for these people to want to be going after you. You know
And
what I mean?
then,
There isn't. So it's somebody is feeding the trolls.
and then think
Somebody is
about it.
feeding the trolls.
Whoever's feeding the trolls sure must have something really nasty to hide.
I
And
know she must.
I would
She
say,
must.
I would think that people who are true crimers who like to delve into the details, of different crimes, wouldn't it make sense that they would have gone into the gardening section? Like, what are they doing in the true crime section?
Well, she should be concerned that people weren't looking into the stuff that was going on Facebook at the time. She should be concerned about that. That's
Yeah,
all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. I like this silly thought. Jeopardy, MM for 2000. Oh my gosh. I think if they were wise trolls, which I don't think they are, I think if they were wise trolls, they would actually look at this case, because that's their whole virtue signaling. Mrs. Ben said that term, virtue signaling. That's their whole stand, right? That they care so much about Christopher Watt's wife, even though we all know they don't. There's a point where if they would actually dig into the case, learn about the case, and then try to challenge the discussion, right? Try to take part in the discussion even to begin with, which they never have, then they could actually maybe, like, as far as distraction, as far as, she's stupid, she said whatever kind of thing. But to put this stuff out there that they're putting out there, it's like,
because it's not about the case. It is, but it's not. Their war isn't about the case. They were never there for the case to begin with. But the people who are orchestrating it, it's their war.
So they were there to try to scam some money somehow. They scammed whatever, or they tried to pull off a scam, and then they are concerned about how many people know about their scam, and so they're trying to destroy people in their path. Is that it?
Well, who knows what they were doing? You know what I mean? Who knows what they were doing? But I think, you have to think about the whole ruse aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Well, I do think it's interesting that after that live chat that all of a sudden all of the originals came surfacing. All of the original attackers came surfacing.
Right.
I mean, except for
one person, like if one person has a vested interest in accomplishing something with the Rusex or for the Rusex, right? They're going to enlist other people to do it. They're not going to put themselves in the middle of the shit. They're going to enlist other people to do it. And they're not going to tell those people why they're there doing what they're doing. Those people are going to be under a completely different impression as to why they're there.
Well,
they can't know.
If there are any
because
of you,
think about it. If there's money, like let's say there's money. Let's say there is money involved to get rid of a channel, right? They're gonna have their trolls go after the channel. They're not gonna tell the trolls why or what it's for. They might be like, yeah, we're gonna try to build a channel. So we're gonna play off this other channel who's in on it. So we're just gonna go back and forth and attack these people. So these people might think that they're just doing something, for some YouTube bullshit, when they're really actually taking part in actual destruction of a community and a channel.
Right. Right.
Okay. And then they're not gonna want to offer any of these people money. They're gonna want the reward, right? So they're gonna do it as cheap as they can humanly possible, and only hire people when they need to hire people that need to do things that the normal person can't do.
Well, two things. One, I actually, seriously, if any of you are lurking and listening, get up here on the panel and tell us what it is that you're thinking, because this really, I mean, come on, 3.5 years, you have better things to do with your lives, seriously, or hopefully you could think of something better to do with your life. And the other part of it is, I think it is important for me anyway, at this point, to continue. And that's what I was going to say. I didn't start any YouTube channel because I was pissed at anyone. I started the YouTube channel because they were saying so many terrible things about me, my children, my family, my mother. I mean, I couldn't believe the stuff they were doing. There were death threats against me. There were harassing phone calls. The list is long. I'm not going to keep on listing it out all the time. But all the shit they were pulling, I created a YouTube channel. I never had a dream of being on YouTube. I created this channel for the sole purpose of that way offering people where if they're hearing all this shit on one channel, they can come to my channel and figure it out for themselves that it's a bunch of shit on the other channel, okay? So it isn't like I'm in competition with them. I'm not monetized. This is a hobby. That's it. And then for them to say, somebody who is so invested in trying to attack me, somebody so invested that she doesn't mind committing defamation, committing slander, so invested, and yet she has no clue what I do for a living. No clue.
But she might have believed that because when you were under the attack, you would speak publicly on it. So she assumed, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm under attack. And then if somebody was using an account to attack her, pretending to be you or doxing you or whatever, then that would verify her in her mind. So she wouldn't care about going after your grandkids. She wouldn't care about doing all these things because she'd feel she was under attack.
Well,
this is just how they operate.
That's why I've said right from the start, Facebook took down right off the bat 6 fake profiles where they were using my photo and my name, and they were running around Facebook, posting comments, sending messages, creating havoc, right? And so if you received a weird message from me, guess what? It probably wasn't from me, right? It's like, how many times do I have to say that before people start going, gee, golly, maybe that wasn't really Menza, right? I mean, they had 6 fake profiles right off the bat.
Right. But of course, you know that they're going to have their puppet master in the ear saying, no, she's lying. She's lying. She's lying. Right. Like, why do you think they're always calling? She's a liar. She's a liar. She's a liar. Mensa's a liar. That's it. She's a liar.
And it seems to me that after 3.5 years, they would turn around and look at their puppet master and say, you're full of shit.
You would think so. You would think so. But again, it's probably hard to believe. Their minds are spun. You know what I mean? They don't know what to believe. And they've already done attacks on you. So it's best if they just kind of hang out in the background and wait and see what the hell comes out. So, you know what I mean?
It's like I said before, their hands are dirty. So they don't want to, they might be trying to scrub their hands clean, but they can't get all the grease out,
Exactly.
It's sad. It's really sad. But I think moving forward, I don't want to sound like I don't care, because I do think what they're doing is very serious, and I think they should all be held accountable in the court of law.
No, I think you should totally focus on the case and just, you know what? Exactly. If they're going to say shit, they're going to say shit. What are you going to do?
Well,
you know what I
mean?
It doesn't matter what they're saying on other channels. They're always going to talk shit. So why cry over spoiled milk?
Exactly. To just focus on the case, focus on discussing the case, and hopefully, I guess, just hope that they figure out that they're being used, and hopefully they figure it out before the people using them try to throw them under the bus.
I don't know why these people just don't try to build their own channel off of their own whatever they think that they got. You know what I mean? Why do these people need to link up with all these other people and mod and do all this stuff? Like, you have the ability to do whatever you want. You don't need a group of assholes to help you do anything. You can gain your own subscribers.
Exactly right. I'm going to take just 1 second. I promise. Just 1 second.
Oh, so how's everybody doing today? Let's see. What do we got in the chat? Follow the
whoever
money.
Whoever that person was, I couldn't hear. So, oh well.
Mm.
Ooh, Ray says Mensa tours coming to Australia. How about it, Honey Badger? Do you have snow? If you don't have snow, you could probably talk me into it. Oh, my phone battery went. Aw, sucks to be you, whoever you are. Okay. I thought I recognized the phone number, but evidently not, because, well, I don't know. Anyway, my phone battery went in the middle of it all. My phone's not ringing.
Maybe it's the scumbag attackers.
You know what? I did think about that. Oh my gosh. A couple nights ago, the phone rang off the hook. It was so discouraging. I just thought, come on, idiots. Like, how sad is that to live like that? Ugh.
There's no other reason why they would be doing anything that they're doing.
And you know that there are at least a few of them watching, right? And they don't have the guts to get up on the panel. That's really sad. Just, get up on the panel. If you're all about the truth, come on up here and let's discuss the truth.
They don't know the truth. The truth is not their specialty. Their specialty is what Mensa's doing. You know
Mark
what I mean?
just said, oh no, it could be your son calling from the shed.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you hopped up here, Honey Badger. I think it is a good idea for us to just proceed forth digging into this shit case because, you know, the parallels there. Yeah, I think it's good to be aware and to have certain information collected and to, you know, be aware of it. But I really think it'd be smart to not allow them to keep with the distractions.
No, because it's just making it worse.
Yeah.
Somebody says get AD on it. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Ben says they're wanting to schedule a cleaning session. Yes. And if there are any really good cooks in the house, that'd be good too. If you want to, you know, send a lasagna or something. I remember one time, I won't say who, but somebody close to me, we were just a few years apart, but she was a few years older than me. When she turned 50, I'll never forget this. She's like, I don't think I've made dinner for 2 years. She's like, I am so, you know, because you hit an age, you raised your kids, right? You know, you hit an age where you become intimate with your microwave, right? Because it's like, you know, you can only cook so many meals in a lifetime. But anyway, she was literally, we're at a fancy restaurant and she's like, I don't think I've cooked a meal in 2 years. You know, and I leaned forward and I'm like, I don't think I would say that quite so loud if I were you. She's like, no, you just wait. You just wait. You'll see what I'm saying. Sure enough, a few years later, I found myself using the microwave like a lot more, you know? It's like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever.
All right, well, I'm gonna hop off here. I got things to do.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm glad
have
you hopped up and I'm this week's a busy week, but when we pop up here
yeah,
again,
I'll just keep an eye out for you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and
All right, take care, everybody. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Okay, guys, let's take a look. It's 2 hours and 32 minutes here. Do you guys mind if we say goodnight and get our butts busy here with stuff that we got to do yet this weekend? Oh, even Kelly's a cleaner. She's in the middle of cleaning. That's good. Little Mama says we need to go to North Carolina and hang out at the bars. Ooh. Red Shoe says, Little Mama, that would be interesting. Little Mama says the air fryer is the bomb. I know I love my George Foreman, but I would say that and my bread maker. Those are my two favorite things. So how about it? Let's go ahead and say goodnight. Everybody, thanks for being here. And don't forget, be safe, be healthy. Don't forget to take your vitamin D. And I want each and every one of you here to know that you are loved. And as far as all the BS going on, let's just leave it on the peripheral the best that we can. And focus on what matters with the case of Christopher Watts, in my opinion, is the fact that poor little Bella and Cece Watts deserved to be safe in their own home. And to me, that's what we should be focusing on, is how those poor babies were treated leading up to the tragedy. See you soon, guys. Good night.